Today I'm going to teach you how to fast track your way to success. It's something that a lot of entrepreneurs strive for, but they can never reach. And there's really one main reason for this. I want you to think of the last time you made a mistake. And this could be about literally anything. It could be about your business, it could be about your personal life, whatever. But when you made that mistake, think back and think, did you actually learn from it? Or did you repeat the mistake later on? Now, my hope for you is that you actually learned from the mistake and you didn't make the same mistake again. But a lot of people don't do this as entrepreneurs. If they make mistakes, they kind of do the same thing over and over again and they never really learn. And I say this because sometimes it's hard to identify our mistakes. Because as an entrepreneur, a mistake isn't something always massive. It could be something super small. It could just be you operating inefficiently. For example, when I started my cold calling marketing, I hired 2 cold callers pretty quickly and they started calling, but the list that I gave them were a wide market. Like I pretty much targeted the entire Central Valley of California when I didn't really understand the markets of all the Central Valley. I really understood the market of Fresno, California, and maybe like 1-2 others. But when I started marketing for whatever reason, I targeted everything. So I was calling homeowners in a big area that I didn't even understand, and I ended up not even doing deals in those areas. I just kind of referred them out to realtors to list because, that wasn't my market. I didn't understand it. And now I've shifted, and my marketing is specifically towards Fresno, California. And if you were in my position when I was targeting that big audience, you may have not even noticed that it was an actual mistake. You may have just thought, oh no, my marketing is not working, the cold callers suck, or something's bad. But in reality, when you're an entrepreneur and when you're a business owner and you're hiring stuff out, you have to make sure that things actually work. So if you're hiring out cold callers and you're not getting any deals or you're not providing any revenue for your company, you gotta figure out what's going wrong. Is it the actual cold callers? Or is it the list that you're giving the cold callers? Is it something else like your sales process? Like what is it? There's a reason why you're not making money. And the truth is, it's always a mistake on your part. Because back to this example, if we're talking about the cold callers, if you're not getting deals because the cold callers are actually bad, well, that's your fault too. You hired them, you trained them, like it's your fault. And if you didn't train them, well, you hired the person that did train them. So everything is your fault when you're an entrepreneur. You just have to make sure you actually learn from them. And here's another example of how I adjusted when I thought I made a mistake. So a couple months ago, I caught COVID and I was pretty much out sick for 3 weeks. And in reality, it took me out for the entire month because I was not productive that last week of the month. And that was the time where I was just starting to build momentum with my social media content. I was consistently putting out videos every single week at a schedule that I liked. And when I got sick, it all stopped. I was the one posting all my stuff. I was creating all my content. I wasn't several weeks ahead or months ahead of my content schedule. So if I was sick and I stopped recording videos or stopped editing or I stopped posting, it stopped that day. So for a month, I wasn't on social media at all posting anything, and I was devastated by it because my whole goal was to post consistently, for years to come. And after I hit that 1 month slump, I thought to myself, how do I make sure that this never happens again? And in my head, the way to make that happen was to get so far ahead of my content schedule that even if I was sick for a month, I'd be okay because I'd be a month ahead of schedule, and would be to hire other people like to post my stuff and to edit my videos so that if I were to ever become sick, it wouldn't rely on just me. It was gonna be on other people as well. So if I were ever out on vacation or sick for a month, the content would still be rolling for at least a month or 2. And I think I got to a point to where I was like 6 months ahead of schedule, and I thought, okay, that's too much, and I had to dial it back and post more often. But that's kind of what I did. And you might think of that and like, wait, that's not a mistake. You were sick. Like, yeah, it wasn't a mistake on my part necessarily, but in my head, everything can be traced back to you or to me. If you are a business owner, everything is your fault. And if something goes wrong, it's your fault. And for me, when I didn't post consistently on social media like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok for that month, it was entirely my fault because I didn't plan for it. But after that happened, I made a specific plan so it would never happen again. My point is, I learned from my mistake. Even if you don't consider that a mistake, it was a mistake in my mind. And if you want to get on the fast track path to success, you have to learn from your mistakes and make sure you never make the same mistake twice. And the even cooler thing about mistakes is that you don't even have to make all the mistakes yourself. Like, people view mistakes as a bad thing, but I actually think it's a great thing. You learn from your own mistakes, but you can also learn from other people's mistakes. And that's by far my favorite way to learn and to get myself on the fast track. Because if someone can make the mistake for you, why don't you just listen to their story and take their advice for it? I would prefer, like, All things equal, because all things equal, if you were to weigh out making a mistake yourself and learning from your mistake versus learning from someone else's mistake and not having to fail, I would pick this option every single time. I would want to learn from someone else. So that's why I love learning from like podcasts and other business owners and their stories. I love learning from books because in books, a lot of authors just tell their mistakes and what they learned from them. So I'd rather learn from them. And that doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. I learn from a lot of people in books and podcasts and whatever, but sometimes I still repeat those mistakes that they talked about. And then once I make it myself, it's kind of ingrained into my mind then of like, oh, this person told me about that and I still made the mistake. Now I've really learned it. So everyone goes through a different route. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep trying and learning from every single failure. And you have to realize as well that failure isn't the only way to learn. You can learn from your successes, but everyone downplays that because they say learn from your failures and from your mistakes, but you can learn from successes as well. A lot of people, when they succeed, they never look back and get feedback on why they succeeded or what worked. Whereas when things went wrong, people don't like losing things. People don't like failing. And so when things go wrong, they always look back and, man, how did I go wrong? But when you succeed, you don't do that. So learn from both your mistakes, your failures, and your successes, and I promise you, you're gonna be in a great position to succeed for your business or whatever you're pursuing. But thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helped you. If you liked it, I make a lot of other content about real estate, money, and self-development, and I also just document my journey as a young real estate investor and entrepreneur. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you at the next one.